Welcome to Good Day Street Talk. Antoine Lewis reporting. Here's what we're working on today, everybody. Helping those in need. The nonprofit Hearts of Gold transitions homeless families into permanent homes. You'll meet them. And then a little bit later, a program that uses the arts to help young people suffering from trauma and abuse. It's very unique. We'll explain that as well coming up. But first, we want to tell you about a local foundation that is bridging the gap between high school students and major corporations. First Workings helps young people secure internships in the business world. I want you to meet Kevin Davis. He is the founder and CEO of First Workings. He is joined by Ella. She's a student at Yale who's also gone through the program. Good morning to both of you. Good morning. So tell us, how did you get started with First Workings?
Well, after 25 years on Wall Street, I decided, and I know it sounds corny, but I wanted to give something back. And I recognized that throughout my career, virtually every employee we hired started out as an intern, and all the interns we hired were the children of colleagues or customers or other people we knew in business, which meant that we inevitably had a very narrow group, narrow social group of employees.
Right.
And it wasn't that we didn't want to hire a diverse workforce, it was that we simply didn't have access to people outside that narrow band. So First Workings is intended as a bridge between companies who want diversity in their workforce and communities who want opportunity.
So is it easy to get them on board to understand why this is something important, as it was personal for you?
Well, it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. We're not just in the financial sector. We cover everything from finance, of course, law firms like White & Case and Mintz-Levin, but also in the medical world and in advertising, right across the universe of industries.
So now how do you find the students?
We work with public and charter schools, predominantly in Harlem and the Bronx, and through a pretty exhaustive application process, we choose students, and then after that we provide them with extensive training, and the training runs all the way from inter-office etiquette, from how to use the internet, what not to do on the internet, which is quite important.
Yes.
We also teach things like handshakes, which is the first time someone meets in business. It's important. We also provide Excel training for students who are going into financial companies or in the finance department of other industries. And we also, where necessary, we provide clothing, because if you're going to work at Morgan Stanley or Lazard or Mintz-Levin or NASDAQ, you have to turn up for work dressed in a certain way.
So Ella Dogouo, how did you come by way to be connected with First Workings?
Well, it was first introduced to me through my school, Democracy Prep Charter High School. And when First Working came, they presented themselves as a company that would partner teenagers with internships at companies or in fields that they were interested in pursuing after they graduated. And I found this to be super interesting, and it was new to me in a sense, because I didn't think that high schoolers could get internships. Mm-hmm. And so I found this as I definitely saw this as an opportunity that I needed to take. And when I did, I was very, very grateful for the opportunity, because as I told Kevin in my interview, I was thinking about potentially pursuing a career in finance. And so fortunately, I was paired up with a hedge fund. And it was through that internship that I knew that that's a field that I definitely want to work in after I graduate college. And that's also part of the reason of why I chose to major in the combined major of mathematics and economics at Yale.
So, okay, first of all, she picked Yale. Let's just go there. You have got to have the confidence, when you choose certain colleges, and you picked Yale,
Right.
So obviously there was a connection with what you were offering that spoke to a minority girl from New York who said, no, I'm going to go to Yale, one of the most prestigious institutions in the country. Are similar stories like with what Ella that you've encountered?
100% of our students go to college. About 15 to 20% go to Ivy League schools. And beyond just getting into college, they end up after our program with mentorships. They end up with enduring relationships, all of which amount to social capital. And it's that social capital that helps them get into some fantastic colleges.
So how many do you do it? We know internships tend to run either summer, winter, spring. You know, what's the time period of the internships?
It's a minimum of 2 weeks. Often it's as much as 5 weeks, and it's always in the summer.
Always in the summer. Ella, did you pass it on to any of your friends? Did you tell them you may want to consider this? This is something you may want to look into?
So like I definitely did, but then of course like when it was like first introduced, there were also like some kids who were just like, yeah, it's like whatever. But I was like, you guys clearly don't see the like how important this is, because clearly when you're in college, before you go into the workforce, you will need an internship. And some, I guess, did listen. Like I had my sister, she also did the program.
Did she go to Yale?
She goes to Harvard.
Oh, here we go.
She did the program, and I think she also like encouraged her friends to do the program as well, which I was super happy about, because it's definitely like experience that you need, because even when you're like networking at different like career events and stuff like that, like some of the skills that First Working teaches you or that you acquire through that internship definitely help you through that process.
So, okay, now that you brought your sister into the conversation, we're talking about very unique but not unheard of, you know, examples. Two questions. One, when you found out that she, Ella, had gotten accepted into Yale, what was your reaction personally?
I was jumping for joy. It was one of the most wonderful pieces of news. Of course, it helps our program. The better colleges that kids go to, the better it is for our program. So we were really proud.
When you got the acceptance letter, you know, what was your reaction, you know, to it? Be honest.
So like, it was kind of crazy because, okay, so it sent, Yale like sends you a letter like through a portal. And so I was like surrounded by my friends, and my mom came, and the words were like, welcome. And like everyone was like reading like, Ella, this says welcome. And I was just like, okay, but I'm waiting for congratulations. Like it didn't process. And then I was like, oh my God, I got accepted, which is when it like finally hit me. My family like always teases me like, Ella, I can't believe you couldn't like read that. I'm like, but given my situation, I think it's a good excuse.
So clearly these lives have been impacted. And about how many students would you say have gone through the program, Kev?
So far, about 100 have gone through. Last year that was 50. This coming year it's going to be 75. And we would like to add about 25 to 50% every year.
Are you still growing the businesses that you're trying to connect to make them a part of First Workings, and how's that going?
That's going very well. It's unusual if a company doesn't ask us to send students the following year. Clearly it's important we send them well-trained, well-mannered, bright, ambitious students, because otherwise they won't ask us to come back next year. But we're always looking to expand the universe and breadth of companies that we work with.
All right, Ella, do well in school. Continue getting those businesses, and you're absolutely right. A firm handshake was all what we were taught as the foundation when you're introducing somebody else. You know, you make sure that you do. So thank you for bringing that up as well.
Thank you very much.
All right, everybody, coming up, a nonprofit with a heart of gold that is actually living up to their name by helping homeless families. We'll introduce you to them when we come back.